Okay, go ahead.
I'm telling the story about one of my high school adventures when I was in, I don't know, second year high school. I wanted to be a doctor, and they said you had to take Latin as a second language. So I decided to take Latin so I could get into medical school. And there was only one Latin teacher available for the school that I grew up in a black neighborhood in Chicago, Wendell Phillips High School. And this lady was a shock to our school because when we went, the first day we went into the classroom, there weren't many, it was about 5 of us, I guess, taking Latin. And when we
5 in the whole class?
in the whole class.
Oh, okay.
Latin was not a language anybody spoke. I mean, that anybody wanted because it was not a spoken language. It was just learning to read it and understand what we read. When we walked into the classroom, our teacher had her desk in one corner of the room, and it was about 10 rows in length of desks that were, I don't know, maybe 5 rows across. No, more than that. Maybe 10 rows across and 10 rows down. And the teacher was sitting in the corner that faced the door. So when we came in, the first thing we saw was this teacher sitting in the corner opposite the door. And she told us to start seating ourselves from the last row forward, which meant most of the rows were empty between us and her. So that's the distance she wanted us to keep for the whole semester. And when we walked into her classroom, we could not be looking over at her. Our eyes had to be focused on the floor, just enough to get us navigated to the seat we were supposed to sit in.
So you had to keep your eyes down. You couldn't look at her.
No, we were not. If you looked at her, you got your grade lowered. We had to keep our eyes to the floor and not look at her in her face. And that went on for the whole semester. When we recited, we had to stand up and look at the chalkboard and not in the corner where she was. Our eyes were never supposed to see her in the corner. She waited until all of the young people out of the hallway before she would come out of her room to go home or to go to the washroom, or that's the only time she came out. To come in, to go out to the home, go home, and to go to the restroom.
But the halls had to be clear.
The halls had to be clear because we changed, in those days, we changed classrooms for every class. So we'd come out of one class, go to another class. So the hallways during that interval was always full of young people moving. But she would wait until the halls were completely cleared for her to come out of her room. It was like she couldn't be touched by us. She didn't want any odor of us. She didn't want anything to do with us. I was on the honor roll, had good grades, and Latin brought my grade for an average down considerably because the highest score you could get in her class was a D. Pass.
That's the highest?
Yes, that was passed. A, B, C, D. F was failing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got a D.
Oh,
Because we really didn't learn anything. And I don't think she even gave us any tests. All I remember is the woman was extremely prejudiced. And at the end of the semester, before the next term came, everybody in the school signed a petition to get her out of our school. And they told us we had to, the thing was, we had her because there was no other Latin teacher that they could find to come and teach Latin in a school in the slums. So that's my story.
mm.
Oh, I wanted to go to nursing school at a hospital, and I forget the name of the hospital now, but it was in our neighborhood, a very renowned high school that had a nursing school attached to it. And my parents wanted so hard for me to go, and I went and talked to my, because they had said that the school was not had never accepted black students. And so I went to my high school counselor when I was going to graduate and told her what I wanted to do. And she had talked to the school, and they said they were considering accepting black students. So I applied, and they called me in for an interview. And my parents were so excited about me getting an interview, they sacrificed and bought me a new skirt top to wear to the interview. I went to the interview, and then admissions, I forgot what they call them. But anyway, she was seemed so excited to see me, and I was so nervous because I'd never been exposed to anything like that, since we were led a pretty sheltered life. But anyway, she says, "Oh, I'm going to take you around and show you the school and all that it's about, and you'll enjoy it." And so she took me to the room that they give you, dormitory,
Mm-hmm.
and showed me the room that two people shared, and it had its own washroom and all that. Oh, she was excited about telling me that. Then she took me down in the basements where they had some classrooms, and showed me the salon they had for the young women to wash their hair and dry it, and all of those things that would make a living on the campus delightful. Everything that you could, and I was just in awe of everything because I was not used to any of this. And I was just so happy. I said, okay, I'm in here. So when she finished showing me the classrooms and all of that, then she says, now we're going to go back to my office and talk about your entrance. And we went back to the office, and she says to me that they couldn't accept me. And it just astonished me. And it's like, you could have sent me a letter to tell me you didn't accept me. So why would you have me to come here for an interview and show me all of the good things that the school had for students, and then bring me back here and tell me you couldn't accept me? And I asked her, I said, why wouldn't I qualify? And we had to take some kind of entrance exam that the city gave, that the Board of Education gave for people who were going into medicine or whatever, or the college. I don't know what it was for. And she says, oh, you didn't pass that test. And I looked at her and I said, I did what? I didn't get a notice saying that I didn't pass the test. And it was given like publicly. It wasn't a private test.
Mm.
I said, I never got anything. Well, we got the letter. You wouldn't get the letter. And we got the letter saying that you didn't pass it. And so I can't enroll you in the school. And I said, well, why would you take me to show me all of this? Were you trying to show me that what I was going to miss? Oh no, you just didn't meet the qualifications. And my parents and I cried. I was so hurt. And my parents were, because they really thought I had it since we got a letter saying come for an interview. So anyway, next possible chance I got, I went back to the high school to talk to my the counselor there that had told me I could go. They were ready to receive blacks. And she said, she says, I got a letter from them, and I called them and asked them why. And they said, well, they just weren't prepared yet to bring a black student into the white. Because it was going to be all white, except for me, I'd be the only black one. And they decided it was not a good, it wouldn't be a good atmosphere for one black student to be accepted. And they were going to wait a couple of more years before they did that. So anyway, it just defeated me. Because there was because it was into the semester, it was too late to enroll in any other school. Cook County Hospital had a nursing school, and if I had enrolled in them, applied to them earlier, before I got, before we graduated, like I did with, and I forget the name of that hospital. It was right on the south side. I don't know if it was Mercy or whatever, but anyway. So that was my story. My first encounter with racism was through the Latin teacher, which I didn't understand. None of us understood it. We didn't realize it was because we were black, because we thought the school, the Board of Education itself would have, not accepted her as a student, but they said they had no choice because we had students who wanted to go into medicine, and you had to have a class in Latin to do that, and that was the only Latin teacher available. But that was my first encounter with knowing what racial prejudice was like.
Thank you, Mother.